Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Castle Rock Season 1, Episode 4. It is called The Box. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. I was thinking throughout this one that this was the most subdued episode of the four. Because
Yeah.
up until the last few minutes, it was kind of like there was everything was sort of trickling along, and you had Henry looking into his past, and moving his father and stuff, and a little bit with Molly, but not like a super I felt like there wasn't the same through line throughout the episode that was keeping me as hooked. Right? It
It's
wasn't
funny
quite
because I thought that like about three-quarters through, I was thinking this is probably my favorite episode so far.
interesting. Interesting. I'll be curious to see why. But the last 5 minutes shot it into the stratosphere. And
Yeah.
I'm going to call it something. I'm going to say they pulled a Doyle. Um, and you might hate me because I'm going to, the spin-off to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, of course, is where Doyle comes from, and we're pulling a Doyle, as I have coined it, or I stole from someone else and can't remember that I stole it. Regardless, they pulled a Doyle, which basically all I mean by that is that they had someone who seemed like they were a main cast member, who was going to be here for the duration of at least the season and be like a main member of the cast, but actually gets killed off quite early on. And we had
But
the,
notably not the first episode.
but not the first episode. Yeah, a few in, just enough.
Yeah.
In fact, compared to Angel, Angel was like episode 9, but out of 22 versus this, which is out of 10, that's actually about the same.
Proportionally, it's
Yeah,
actually pretty similar.
yeah, it's about the same ratio. Uh, so Zaliski, this is the first thing we have to talk about, is Zaliski at the end of the episode, because there's a moment in the middle where he makes it very clear to Henry that he's really looking forward to exposing Shawshank because it's so corrupt. The guards are so awful to everyone, which actually ties back into the movie in some ways. Because in the movie, the warden's corrupt and he's making the prisoners do things for him, and
Yeah.
they'll openly kill prisoners if they don't like them, and all sorts of things. And he's ready to expose corruption. He feels kind of sick, being part of that world, and he sort of sees Castle Rock as this, awful place where all the, as he puts it, the bad people stick around here because they can get away with it, and that's why the town's so bad. And he's really determined to sort of make a change. And there's that moment where he goes to speak to the kid, and he wants to fist bump him, and even just the way that it was shot and directed by the editing, and the way it did the close up of the fist touching, I went, "Oh no, he touched
I
them!
know. I know.
No!"
I'm like, uh-oh. We know how this ends.
Yeah, cut to Jane Levi last episode, going, "Uh oh." That
Yeah.
was that was me watching
Yeah,
the
we
watching the
could
scene.
have done with her doing that this episode too.
We
Just
could
to have
have.
her in the episode.
She was oddly absent. We could have just cut to that shot. I mean, it would make no sense why she would be saying it at that point in time, but I'd have taken it. It'd have been
Would
fine.
have still improved the episode.
So I was okay. I was worried, and I'm like, I didn't think he was going to get cancer because I know we were talking about him touching, just giving people cancer. I thought, no, I think it's going to be more complex than that. I don't think it's just going to be
Yeah,
one thing.
it's more like a curse, right?
Yeah, um, and because we towards the start of the episode, there's a sort of montage with Zalewski coming to work, and we see multiple times throughout the episode that whenever he swaps places with the previous shift, the woman who's in at the camera room, uh, she always gives a little dig like, "Hey, smile. Smiling wouldn't kill you. Cheer up."
And he does this really fake smile every time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I appreciate most about that?
Yeah.
Is he does the fake smile with his back to her. She's not even seeing the fake smile. He just does it anyway.
Yeah, yeah. It's that kind of thing where you just give someone the finger behind their back. You need to let it
Yeah,
out. It's not about them seeing it. It's just about
yeah.
doing it. But and then eventually he starts drawing smiley faces on the monitors and so on. So the all episode I'm like, okay, where's this going? And it gets to the end, and it turns out that shot, that ending of episode 1 where he saw all the dead bodies was something of a premonition almost,
Hmm.
from the kid, where Zalewski just takes out the gun like he did in episode 1. Which again, that entire scene, or the start of episode 2 rather, that entire scene where he reacts to that and goes out with a gun was also kind of foreshadowing because he almost shoots a guard. Here, and the way that's a shot is really nice as well, actually, because it shoots it all through the security cameras.
Yeah.
And it's not even just like it cuts to the cameras; it's watching the wall of monitors, and the camera just pans between the monitors depending on which one
It
the
doesn't
action's
have to
happening.
pan that much because of the screen space that's there. You
Yeah.
kind of just follow it with your eyes as it moves across. It's very clever.
Yeah, there would be like four monitors at a time, and then it would shift another four, and then it would kind of yeah.
Yeah,
It was really effective, and it's really upbeat music playing as he essentially walks around the prison, committing a mass shooting and just shooting the guards, Terminator style, basically. And then we eventually cut to one where he just turns round and shoots someone in the back, and he keeps going. And Henry's in the prison at this, because obviously Henry earlier on, what he goes through in the episode, it leads him to decide to just take the deal. He's like, I'm going to leave, I can't be here anymore, this is too much for personal reasons. And he tells Zalewski this, and that clearly hits him, that hits him hard. And not that I think that's the sole reason, obviously I think the kid's influence is what's really triggering this, but
yeah.
that's the kind of the actual real world trigger, if you will. And so Henry's there, and it's actually Zalewski's just about to get to him, and Henry sees him kill someone, and he's terrified. What's happening here? He's in shock, and that's when the flashbangs come in, and Zalewski just gets killed.
I think it's worth noting as well. Before the flashbang goes off, Zalewski says, "No, I want to testify," which kind of goes against his action that he's doing, because he knows how this is going to end, right? Doing this in a prison with armed guards.
I think
they're gonna shoot first.
See, I think I would debate that he knows anything right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if he's thinking about the consequences of what he's doing. Like I feel like he's just, I don't want to say on autopilot, but because of the influence of the kid, I don't necessarily think he actually is considering what this will lead to.
Yeah, okay. See, that's why I think is for me the dichotomy is what he's saying is, he wants to be, alive and testify, and then but what he's doing is it's almost a suicide run because of what the kid's kind of making him do almost. Sure,
but I don't think I don't think he's making this conscious choice to do this, I guess is what I'm saying. I think when he says that at the end, that's him being honest. That's him sort of his real feelings coming out. But it's almost like a darkly humorous moment, because that ain't going to happen.
Yeah. See, the way I'm reading it is, like you say, he's on autopilot. I agree with that. More like, he's doing this because he has to, because of the fist bump.
Yes.
And when he gets there and says, "I want to testify," that's almost like a sobering moment of. Trying to say that against that he's not really sure why he's doing this, almost.
Oh sure, yeah, no, I agree with that. Sobering is a good word for it. It's like that, if you can even call it sobering. Like I don't know even if it's that far. If it's just almost just a glimpse of really him peeking through.
Yeah.
It's like seeing Henry's kind of woken him up just a little bit, just to say what he's actually feeling. And we end the episode with his dead body lying there, and I'm like, damn, they killed him. I'm like. And I think what I appreciate about this is that they did set him up. He felt like one of the main characters who was going to be here all season. We knew he had a kid in the way. We'd been following his story independently of the other characters. He felt like a main character of the show. So it's actually kind of surprising to find out that he's done by episode 4. We have used him to show how dangerous the kid is.
Yeah.
It's one thing him giving the other convict cancer. It's another thing making someone who, from what we've seen, is a good person, go on a shooting spree.
Yeah, I think it's quite amusing, because after we, a little bit after we finished recording the last episode, you said to me, we forgot to talk about a small scene with Zalewski.
Yes.
And I went, never mind, we'll just talk about it when it's relevant, because he'll be around, it'll come up again at some point. Just assuming, he's around all season, it'll be relevant at some point later, and we'll, bring it back up then. Yeah, forget that.
Well, I think now, thinking back to that scene, the scene where I was talking about the last episode was when he's talking to Henry, and he brings up that he might want to be a lawyer. Like, how long does it take? And he's like, maybe you can put in a reference for me or something like that. And he just kind of awkwardly says, "Oh, sure." Like, he doesn't even know how to respond to it, as if, that's it's futile now. Maybe, even though it isn't necessarily. He's not that old. He could change careers, whatever. But I think the point of that scene now, much like his wife having a kid on the way, is like, it's all this like humanizing. He's got a whole life ahead of him that could be something completely different. He could get out of here. He could do other things. It's to add to the basically the heartache of this tragedy. For him.
No, I agree. And I said I thought, at the time, oh, this will come up again later, in more context, not just that it's just there just to make him seem like a more fully fleshed out character.
Yeah. Which is fine, because once you
No, it
realise,
is.
this is what it was leading to, it's absolutely fine.
It is, yeah.
So that is that's the end of Zalewski. It's really surprising. It was one of those things where I sort of smiled as I mean, it almost sounds sick, but I was smiling as the final shot was playing because I went, huh, good for them. They pulled that off. Like I did not see this coming, that he was
No, me
going to
either.
go out like this. That entire final sequence was completely just like, I knew something was going to happen with him to prove, to show us that the kid could do stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we had the scene earlier on where he intimidated the other guy, Gordon, where he scared him. It's like he comes to intimidate him. Oh, I was in Iraq and I did this, and blah blah blah. And he just he scares him out of the cell and shuts himself in. And it was just like, oh, he's intimidating. Okay, right. So we're getting that.
Yeah.
But this at the end, this is like, no, he can make someone do this. Like he can completely not only ruin someone's life and result in this case their death, but also just kill so many people from it.
The question now is the kid consciously choosing to do this, or is it just out of his control? Because Zelensky was being nice to him. He was saying, I'm going to look out for you, don't worry.
I don't know. I feel like the look in his face at a couple of points was telling me that he knew, or he at least approved of what was happening.
I don't know, because there were points where, like in the lead up to the fist bump, he looked concerned before he did it anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe you could read it as just confusion as to what's going on with the fist bump.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It looked like he wasn't sure if he should be doing this or not. Like he didn't know what would happen. I don't know.
And I think we need more on like how he became this way, I guess.
We do, yeah.
Or like how it works, but is there just evil inside him and he's just kind of the carrier for it, or like is he himself evil?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's something we'll explore a little bit more as we go down the story, but no, very very interesting. No, it was a ballsy ending. Like the ending,
It was,
because I don't know if I'd say it was the weakest of the episodes so far for me up until that point, but the ending really shot up the way, like it really did. Big ending. So in terms of the other stuff with Henry this episode, he's got a lot of drama going on. He's trying to move his father out of this, what turns out to be like just a plot somewhere. There's just this shithole.
Yeah, he described it as just a landfill.
There's not even like tombstones out there. It's just little markers, just little flags almost, just saying who's who. And he's like determined to take it away. He wants to move his mum close to him in Austin, where there's like a old folks home that he can send her to. Of course, Pangborn's not very happy about this. But what really comes out of all this is that his mother finds out that he wants to move her, and she gets really defensive about that. She also skirts any questions about his missing incident as a kid, and there's a lot more of that this episode as well. Actually, I really liked the visual effect. Well, I say visual effect. The film effect of like there's these little glimpses of flashbacks that he's having when he's dreaming.
Yeah.
And it looks kind of like, oh, here's some blurry 80s, grainy film footage. I was into that.
It is, yeah.
I'll be honest, I was into it so much. I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't even say no to the whole show looking like it was, grainy and filmy from the 80s. I feel like it would fit the overall tone. In fact, one of my favourite shots of the episode is just before Ruth sees the casket that's been transported. There's like a shot of the town when it's just pouring a rain, and I just really liked that shot. I was like, oh yeah, this fits the mood. Like Castle Rock just in pouring rain.
No, I agree. I think each episode has a couple. Like last episode, it was early on in the dream sequence at the start, where it just lingers on the church outside, and it's this really long shot compared to most shots in the episode, of it just panning down the church and just sitting there. I'm like, yeah, that was a really nice shot, and it's the same here. Just every episode there's like one or two of those that just stand out.
Yeah, bit of mood setting basically.
Yeah,
but yeah, so we lead to this other character, this suspect. He's looking through the old newspapers and he sees this suspect out in the woods, and he inquires if they're still around. He goes out to check, and he finds the titular box behind this really torn down house. There's a piano that's a grand piano has literally came through a floor, and the floor's just got this big hole, and there's just chaos.
Yeah.
And the guy who lives here comes back, and apparently he's a barber who operates here. I don't know why anyone would drive to the woods and go into a place that looks like this to get a haircut, but
Me either.
But whatever. Castle Rock be Castle Rock. And Henry starts to talk to him about this stuff, and he's like, no, I inherited this place from my brother. But he's like, no, I always lived here, and I was questioned. And eventually it gets a little bit weird, and he's got like the police report in a box under his bed, and he shows Henry it.
I appreciate how friendly creepy this guy was.
He was, yeah. He was kind of like friendly, especially when he realised who he was. When he's like, oh, you're Henry, you're him, you're the kid.
He got kind of almost excited by it.
Yeah. And I like the mixture of emotions from Henry. It was like, okay, I'm an adult now, I don't need to be scared, but there was a moment where he got really close that he got kind of freaked out by. He sort of backed away. And it's this idea that he doesn't really remember any of this time when he was taken, if he was taken as a kid. But he's having these glimpses, and then, it's just kind of like the feelings kind of coming back. Like the feeling of the fear that he maybe had is kind of there. Yeah. And he kind of, he gets out in a rush, but... he looks at the police report and he's like, hey, this wasn't done properly. Like, this wasn't, like, seen through at all. Oh, and the only person who came and actually, did the search and interviewed this guy, oh, look at that, it's just Pangborn. So he goes to speak to Pangborn, and he's like, oh, why didn't you do your goddamn job?
One of those other shots that I really liked is him walking through the house.
Oh, sure,
coming back to this here, and his mother's is there, and Pangborn's out in the back, and it's just it follows him through the house. I thought that was a really good atmospheric shot as well.
Yeah, I think it works really well because he's like building up to go and confront him. Like he's got this pent up, like good discussion that he really wants to have. So there's a nice bit of build up to that because that's how he feels getting out of the scene. And Pangborn just kind of like hits back with, no, let's just cut to the chase here, right? It's like, no, like he told me, your dad told me you did it, that you're the one who tried to kill him.
Yeah.
He wrote it down. He couldn't speak, but he wrote it down. He said Henry did it. Now, I've got a funny feeling that the context of that phrase might actually be something different. But
I believe it refers to something else here.
Yes,
yeah,
but not Stephen King's It.
No. See, this is where it gets confusing because we're already discussing King, and we've got It himself, locked up in a prison.
Yes.
Just Be better with your titles.
Well, what do you mean It itself? Pennywise. He's not called It. That's not a character's name.
No, but he is It. So I'm just,
He's what?
Don't be a dick. Don't do that.
Anyway, so, and obviously like, Henry's taken aback by this. He's like, no, that's not true. That's a lie. But like he's kind of hit by it. And there's a couple of scenes with Molly where he's talking to her about he feels this guilt. I think this is before this scene, but he's talking to her, and it's interesting that they're just at the bar, just casually chatting. This is earlier on when Zalewski comes to speak to him, and you get some of that character stuff. But he's talking to Molly,
and it feels like she was going to tell him the truth about what she did.
It's like because obviously he's feeling guilty, and she's like, "Well, hey, don't take all the guilt because I may have."
I'm the one who actually did it.
Yeah, I mean, you might have tried to. And maybe that's why I wanted to, because I could feel that. Which, by the way, someone pointed out in the comments for episode 3 that in the flashback in last episode, when the police officer comes to speak to her, the room's really warm, but she feels really cold. Like he would be out in the forest.
Yeah, good point.
Apparently, you could actually see her breath in that scene. I don't know if I caught that. But that would suggest she physically feels things that he does.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Because there's a moment in this episode, actually, she knows he's coming by. Because she feels what he was just thinking about, or whatever.
You hear those thoughts. It's that conversation with Pangborn. Oh, Henry did it.
Yeah. So that's a really good moment. It's almost just a little standalone thing, but I actually really enjoyed the humor of her showing the couple the Lacey house, and she's like hiding things that show who it belonged to. And they find the urn, and it just cuts to them sitting down because she's done a pretty good job of selling the house, and she's like, double pane glass, and you'll like this view in the winter, and blah blah blah. And it just cuts to them after he finds the urn. It cuts to them sitting on the couch, and she's like, now we didn't have to disclose anything because technically he didn't kill himself on the property, so the property's in the clear.
I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, what's the big deal? Didn't die there. People die all the time. Of course, you own the house of someone that died.
Hey. Well, first of all, I moved in here when it was brand new, so I know I didn't. Secondly,
Okay, most people.
Secondly, the problem here isn't that he could have died in the house. The problem is that he might have been a creepy sex pervert who kidnapped a kid.
Well, yeah.
That's the problem. It's not that he's dead.
Well, I know, but it's just a house.
That's why it's funny when she says he didn't die in the property. Like, so what? That's not the problem. That's kind of why that's funny.
Yeah, but it's just a house, isn't it? Who cares?
And then she basically, it's just a feeling. You feel a bit weird.
I don't get that.
Oh, come on, you tell me if you knew the house that you were moving into, or not so much you were moving into, but you were considering moving into a house, but then you found out, oh, a like 10 times like murderer rapist live here. You wouldn't feel a bit weird about moving into that house.
Yeah, you just redecorate, don't you? Make it your own. Someone's got to live there. If anything, you go, all right, fine, but I want it cheaper.
Depending on what they did, I could take a cheaper price. I think there is a line though where I would just feel a bit weird about it. It's like, I don't want to.
I mean, as long as they weren't doing it on the property.
How did you know they weren't doing it on the property?
Well, no, this is the point here. Presumably he didn't do anything in the house.
You don't know that for sure, though.
I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, no, you can never know that for sure. If it's something that the person who lived there before was doing on a regular basis, who's to say he didn't bring his thing home with him once or twice? There's a lot of assumptions being made here. I would get not wanting to move into a house with someone who kidnapped children. All right, I would,
I'm just saying, you redecorate, you put in your own furniture. There's no trace of them there anyway.
It's not about trace. It's just about knowing.
Clearly, I'm just not bothered by this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm particularly squeamish on the subject. I just think there's definitely a line where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to move out of that house. It's fine. I'll move somewhere else.
Sure.
You
do you. You go pay more for somewhere else in a less ideal location.
You say that as if everyone gets an option when they're buying a house to like. There's always that section where it's like, oh, here's where all the murders and stuff happened, and you can get a cheaper deal. As if that's a section on like House eBay.
Oh, I wish it was. I'd so be using that.
Here's the cheap houses. What's wrong with it? Oh, there was a murder here. Oh, this one had this one's haunted. They say. So, I thought.
I feel like if you say it's haunted, that drives the price up because you have people interested in that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You get the weirdos who'll be into that. I wouldn't mind that for cheaper. I mean, I wouldn't believe it was haunted, but if you're telling me it's haunted, I want a cheaper price. I'm not paying a premium for the haunting.
No, but you know there are some people that will.
Oh, but okay, what type of haunting? Is it a demon? Is it an ice ghost?
I think as long as it's not a poltergeist, right? Poltergeist is just annoying.
Oh, a demon's not much better.
Nah, but you whatever. You
like,
can deal with a demon.
A demon's like full on evil.
Yeah, but you can deal with demons. Poltergeists are just there.
How can you say you can deal with demons so casually as if it's like, there's a set rules? Like, you've seen some horror movies. That doesn't mean it applies if it was real.
I mean, why not?
You can deal with demons like you can repaint the walls to cover that stain. That shut up.
Look, all I'm saying is demons are real. No. If demons are real, then at least some of the horror movies have to be right about how to deal with them. There just has to be. There's enough of them.
This logic is absolute nonsense. The way you so matter of fact. Oh, you can deal with a demon.
It's just how it seems in my mind.
Anyway, what are we talking about? We've been off track.
The house sale.
Yes. It was just a fun sequence. That's all I was getting.
It was, yeah.
Fun sequence. But no, Molly hearing things and feeling things. I still think she's going to be key to taking on the kid in some capacity, or understanding him in some capacity.
Yeah, maybe not taking on, but understanding definitely.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being the case. That was an interesting episode. I think I think maybe where I wasn't feeling it as much for the first little chunk is that I don't know if I was as into the dude in the woods, I guess. Like that investigation part of it, I don't think I was as into that as I have been some of the other stuff in the past few episodes.
Okay. See, for me, the reason I say this is probably my favorite is it felt, and I had that thought before the ending sequence as well. Is it felt like a really balanced episode to me.
Okay.
Especially coming off the last one, where this one I felt like I got mainly followed Henry. I got a good dose of the case with the kid and Zalewski. Just some of that mystery. I got a decent chunk of his backstory, that flashback, that mystery. I appreciated seeing more with the mother and Pangborn, that stuff there. It all felt like it tied quite nicely, and it felt like it fit together and it flowed. And the Molly stuff was, this is where I like Molly best, is where she just adds to the episode like this.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning as well, speaking of Pangborn and the mother, that Henry basically figures out that, hey, you were already like having some sort of an affair, but before my father died, because you were out there when I was presumed dead, not because it was still your job to do that, but because you cared about my mother and you were making the extra effort because of that. So he deduces that.
I mean, that's how you get some brownie points, right? Find the missing kid.
I mean, I don't know. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. I don't typically chat up women who have just lost a kid. I feel like that's not the opportune time where they're in the mood for some company.
And the husband, we should point out.
And the husband. I mean, even just ignoring the husband. I just feel like it's not the time where they're thinking about dating.
No, it's not. But he's thinking about it. He's like, I get the kid back. Give it 3 months when she's, relaxed and calmed down a bit. She'll remember I did this.
Yeah, I mean, so just to establish the reasoning, the lessons we've learned about Connor here in this episode, he is okay with moving into a house where there was an entire family butchered to death with a crazy axe murderer, and he also sees the dating potential in mothers who have lost their children because you can find the kid. I wouldn't be surprised to me if Connor's planning to kidnap a kid just so he can be the one who saves them later.
No, I'm good.
All right, I don't know. I'm learning lots of.
And let's not forget the demons. You can deal with demons, no problem.
I feel like if
we're going through all the other lessons that we've learned today,
you would fit in Castle Rock. You belong there with all that corruption and the evil.
Thank you. I think.
But yeah, that was the episode. That was this episode of Castle Rock. I mean, it was still good. Like I don't want to be I love the ending anyway, but like I don't want to be too down the rest of it. It was like solidly fine. Like I like the character still. It's progressing things forward. I like that there is more of a partnership between Henry and Molly kind of blossoming rather than just this weird.
Well, we have to have a partnership somewhere, seeing as Zalewski's not there to play that role anymore.
Of course. And I'm sure Jackie will come into that and help in some capacity and whatever. A little bit concerned though. She could be someone who ends up meeting him at the prison because she's doing the whole Bible thing. And could get in harm's way. So that could be kind of where we end up going with that. But unless we're going to do The Shining, but with Jackie Torrance instead of Jack Torrance in season 2, in which case, fine, we'll do that then.
Yeah, which actually does bring me onto that. While we're on the topic, do you think Molly's powers are some form of the Shine?
I hadn't really thought about that. I would guess not, because the Shining, it was more about like dead people, right? It was more about hearing and seeing dead people.
Specifically in that, I think, but obviously I know King's used it in a few other places in his books, right? And I think it's more just psychic powers in general, right?
I mean, if they tell me that later, then sure. I mean, right now I would assume it's not because of that, but if they tell me it encompasses all types of telepathy and psychic powers and whatnot.
See, there's my vague understanding from what I've heard is that it's just just psychic powers in general, like, is where it expanded into.
Yeah,
but
Yeah, maybe then, if that's the case. But I would have assumed The Shining, from what I know from the movie, is just no. It's
Yeah.
just it's just your Sixth Sense style
Yeah, no, that's
shenanigans.
fair.
But hey, so yeah, that is episode 4 of Castle Rock. We'll be back next week with episode 5. Maybe even sooner than this one was. This wasn't too bad. This was Thursday. We're getting this done and up late. But maybe next week it could, maybe Wednesday, but maybe Thursday again. But either way, it won't be as late as the first 3 were because of tech issues and whatnot. So, but let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel and support everything we do here and keep the reviews coming, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv, and you can support us over there for as little as $1 a month, and that is greatly appreciated. If you can, all the other stuff does help as well. It's also worth mentioning these reviews go up on our Almost Cancelled TV review audio feed, where a lot of the different TV shows reviews go up as audio podcasts, and you can check out that. There's a link in the description as well as on Patreon, so check that out too. But that is us, so thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?